to Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. I am Mr. Randy, and welcome to another episode of Talking with Mr. Randy. If you're new to the channel, hello and welcome. So when we do these videos talking with Mr. Randy, I generally just have a talking point mostly associated with whiskey or things that might have been some loosely connected with whiskey. I do believe I did a Talking with Mr. Randy where we talked about the movie Highlander, which I just recently got on 4K. I completely abandoned the movie theaters altogether. We're just tired of that whole thing. So Mr. Randy built a theater in his home. So now we don't have to leave in order to get that better experience, that better movie theater experience. So I finally got around to getting the 4K of Highlander, and in one of the scenes earlier on, McLeod orders a Glenmorangie. And a lot of people didn't pick it up, and a lot of people told me, said that, they didn't know that scene, or that they don't remember that scene, or they don't remember anything about that. But when I saw it this time, when I was watching it on 4K, it hit me like a train. And I was like, whoa, because now, Mr. Randy is into the whole whiskey thing. So a lot of these little nuances in arts and entertainment got to get picked up. Here's another little nuance that I see in arts and entertainment. It's the flask. Now this flask here is Mr. Randy's first flask. It's a pretty generic, like somewhat, I don't think that's real leather, but I've got a little ding as a story for that one, but it's an 8-ounce stainless steel, and it's really nice. I've had this for, I want to say somewhere between 25 and 30 years. When I first got it, there is something in there. I think it's Evan Williams 1783, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go ahead and open it up and take a sniff. Yep, that's an Evan Williams, pretty much at 1783. Now this has a attached cap that screws on. And I've had this, like I said, I've had this for closer to 30 years. When I first got it, I was really getting into whiskey, but never really took off. And we just kind of went straight into mixing. I didn't have those nuances and education and respect for it, the tradition of whiskeys and whatnot. So it just went straight into Coke, and down the gullet it went, and happy days and hard mornings. So I used that for, I don't know, a few months, and then cleaned it out and put it in the back of my closet. Earlier this year, early 2025, when I got back into whiskeys, I thought, hey, I have a flask, because I was thinking about buying one, but then I remembered it's in the back of the closet somewhere, so I dug it out, started using it, and I started realizing that 8 ounce is quite a lot. I mean, it really is. If you were going on like a weekend expedition or something like that, where maybe like a day and a half or something like that, that might be an evening or two worth of whiskey. Perfectly fine. Some people will say, well, why don't you just take the whole bottle? Because the bottle can break, and that would just be bad times all around. So this is metal. It's, like I said, stainless steel. This is held up. This is amazingly well. I mean, it needs a really kind of a good cleaning on the metal parts, but everything is still intact. That looks like that. I need to change that if I can figure out how to do that. It might not even be possible. Mr. Randy is an engineer, so we'll figure something out with that. Been asking about that one. This is called the Rag Proper. It's called the single shot. Try and get you a little bit of a. It doesn't want to focus in there, but there it is. It's the Rag Proper single shot. It's only 100 milliliters. 100 milliliters is basically 2 single shot little sample bottles. So this has never left the house as of yet. I think I've had this for 2.5 months, 6 or 7 weeks now. It's really nice. It's got this rubber sort of like thing on it. It's got a window. I love that see-through window. Before we do all that, it has a cap. It came with 2 caps. This is the aluminum, nice looking bronzish, blackish kind of thing. It came with the actual cork insert. I took that out and put the silicone in there. We know why we don't like the cork anymore, because cork tends to come apart if it's not properly maintained to a point of exhaustion. And it came with several different backups and stuff in there, so if you ever break a cork or lose a cork, they got a replacement. You can see that's pretty nice. Looks like a cologne bottle, actually. It looks like a cologne. It's very nice. Like I said, it's got that silicone sleeve. It's very nice. It's easier to fill this up. They did give me, like I said, it came with little bits and pieces. And it came with a little fill cap. That's the best little funnel I've ever had. But it came in many different variations and styles. The silicone sleeve comes in many different colors. I just chose the classic black. They had like neon pink and green and other things that just didn't sort of sit well. This is a classic black. It's got a weird kind of, like, I've washed it a few times, but it does have this sort of almost like feel like there's chalky to it or something. Like I said, this has not left the house since I got it delivered. And it's just, I'm just trying it out at the house. This hasn't left the house since, I don't know, 20 years ago or something like that. It's been in the back of the closet in a box. But I'm going to talk a few things about flasks and those things entailing entailing. So what's the purpose of a flask? Well, the purpose is to take some of your spirits with you on the go while you travel, which takes me back to the little sample bottles. This one is actually glass. That's actually glass. Majority of them are plastics, which I tend to want to now these days lean away from anything in the plastic bottle, even water. But one of the main reasons was for travel was portability. Now, portability also now coming into, you see this, the shape, that sort of curved, bowed shape. Now, the reason for that shape, and nowadays it's not only functional, but now it's also form and aesthetics. So the reason why the flask has this sort of curve to it is because the first flask was called a boot flask. So this would just slip down in your boot against your leg. You see that? Between the boot and the sock on your leg, and it was just going to sit there in your boot. So it was a boot flask. This was very easily concealable, because a lot of the times if you had something like this in your pocket or something, your jacket would sway, or they would see that bulge in your pants. Not that one, this one. They would see that and they would say, you know, what you got in your pocket, you know, and especially if you were going somewhere during those times of prohibition times where liquor, alcohol, spirits and whatnot were still banned. So they would check you and they would pat you down. And if they felt this in your pocket, you were caught, you were done. So they would just slip down in the boot. And so most of the time, no, people were not checking your boots. It wasn't like current times where you go through TSA and you got to take off half of your clothes, including your shoes, just to prove that you're not carrying something. But that's just another story for another time. Moving on with the points here, we're going to talk about another reason why Mr. Randy thinks that flasks can be good, and that's portion control. Again, if you're an individual, and I don't mean to point out the alcoholics, but I talking to a guy the other day about, he's an alcoholic, and he was a full-blown, really real alcoholic, where he will tell me that if he sits down and cracks open a bottle, he won't stop drinking that bottle until he's either passed out or there's nothing left in the bottle. And hopefully, he said, hopefully I'm so enamored, I'm so gone that I can't make it to the store to get more. And so I completely understand that. So he tells me when he goes to the store and he'll buy a little 100 milliliter bottle, and he's got a safe that has a timer on it. The timer is set to like the next morning. So what he'll do is he'll go out to the store and he'll buy him a little bottle, you know, just enough to enjoy some, not enough to get, he gets past that point where he starts, I want more, I want more, I want more. And so what he does is he puts his keys to his truck and his wallet, ID and stuff like that in the safe, and he locks it and he sets the timer so it doesn't open up until the next morning when it's, you know, time to get up and go to work. It'd be horrible if that thing stopped working and he had to go to work and all of his stuff is stuck in the safe. But I guess, you know, whatever helps you get through it, more to him. But yeah, he says he drinks his to his delight, and then once it's out, his brain is able to accept that there's just no more, period. It's time to, you know, probably go to bed or something like that. So portion control is one of the better things that come to the flasks. We've covered the shape, portion control, purpose of the flasks, portability. We talked about, oh, here's another point, since we already hit the topic of alcoholic. There's a sort of stigma to these flasks. Nothing says you're an alcoholic on the go than carrying around a flask. So are these mainly, like, when you think of a flask, do you think of that individual who's carrying around a flask, do you think them as an alcoholic? I would kind of be a bit on the fence with this one, because if you, just for the sake of it, if you're carrying around a flask like as an everyday carry item, and you're always, you tend to sip on it from time to time throughout the day, that may be a little bit of a concern. Mr. Randy waits till the end of the day when everything else is done and he's not going anywhere to, you know, to imbibe and have some libations. So, I mean, what do you think? Let us know in the comments. You know, does it say to you that this individual's an alcoholic? If, like, I don't know, it's noon or lunchtime and you just sit down and you have your meal or whatever and you're leaving, this guy pulls this out of his jacket pocket, takes a little nip, and what do you think? You think, oh man, no, you know, alcoholic, does it really have that stigma? Does it really carry that well over him? But I think that's about it. We're going to talk on the flask. If there's any other topic you'd like to speak of on the flask, let me know. Might make a part 2. This one was just kind of thrown together with some bullet points just off the top of my head, things I've been thinking about. Well, as always, thanks for stopping by here at Mr. Randy's Wine and Spirits. I am Mr. Randy. You have a good one.